Immanuel Quickley is tearing the NBA up right now, and we have to talk about it. So what's up, guys? Welcome back to Knicks Digest. My name is Chris, and we are going to waste no time. We are going to jump right into things today. So here's the deal, guys. Immanuel Quickley has been tearing the NBA up so far this season. It has been easily his best season in the NBA. He just had a tremendous game against the Washington Wizards last night when the New York Knicks beat the Wizards in blowout fashion in an in-season tournament game. And Quickley did that, obviously, in D.C. Quickley himself is from Maryland. His mom was at the game watching courtside, and he put on an absolute show once again. And the Knicks are now going to have to answer some very difficult questions when it comes to Quickley being a restricted free agent this summer. So obviously we have to break all of this down, talk about it, and then sort of see where the Knicks go when it comes to Immanuel Quickley, because something has become evidently clear. And that is that Immanuel Quickley is going to one day, if not already, be too good to be coming off of any NBA bench. And that is a problem for the New York Knicks, considering he will be a restricted free agent, especially considering that he will never be the Knicks starting point guard as long as Jalen Brunson is with the Knicks and healthy. So let's just jump into things. Let's look at a few stats right here. Last night, the NBA talked about the Knicks and beating the Wizards in the East Group B win. I still do not understand why they don't just use divisions for the tournament. It would make everything so much easier, make way more sense. But it is what it is. I don't know. I don't understand this tournament, as I've said multiple times. I think it's pointless. But it is what it is. And the Knicks showed up. All of their players, with the exception of RJ Barrett and Quentin Grimes. So two of their starters did not play. Quickley still came off the bench, though, and absolutely had a monster game. As it says here, Jalen Brunson led the way. He had 32 points, also 7 rebounds and 7 assists. Monster game from Jalen Brunson. He's fully back. He's in his groove. Julius, 22 points, 7 rebounds, 8 assists. He's back in his groove. DiVincenzo played a nice game in his first New York Knicks start. And then Quickley off the bench, as usual, as their sixth man. Puts up 27 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists. Guys, he balled out. It's getting insane. He is easily one of the best players on the Knicks. He's arguably the 4th best player. I would say he's the 5th. And it just feels like if he were getting more minutes, and it's not the Knicks' fault, but it feels like if he were getting more minutes, if he were a starter who had a higher usage, he would almost certainly become an all-star. These numbers are insane. And remember, we've talked about this on the channel before. Last season, Quickley averaged 22 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists in the 21 games that he started. He looked like a tremendous player. He almost won 6th Man of the Year despite a slow start. Well, this season, he is not having a slow start at all. Because if you look here, only 3 guards in the NBA per 36 minutes are averaging 22 points per game, 5 assists, and 5 rebounds, with 60% plus true shooting. And those 3 guys are Luka Doncic, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and Immanuel Quickley. Both Luka Doncic and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander are all-stars. Really superstars, top 10 players in the NBA, both in the MVP conversation early on into this season. And then there's Quickley, who I'm not saying he has MVP potential. I think that would be wrong to say because it's a limited amounts of games played so far this season, and also because he does not get the usage or minutes or star treatment that Luka and Shai get from their respective teams, as they're both going to be the faces of the Mavericks and Thunder, respectively, barring a trade, which I really don't see with Shai, maybe with Luka down the line, for the foreseeable future. And then again, and there's Immanuel Quickley. And teams are going to see this, and teams are going to want him, and they are going to look at him as a restricted free agent, and the New York Knicks are going to have to make a very tough decision in regards to what they are doing. Now, really, there's a few different ways the Knicks can go. They can pay him and tell him you're going to be our 6th man for a while. Maybe you'll get into the starting lineup in some games, but maybe not. I don't know how much Quickley's going to want to do that. The man is too good to be on the bench. He should be starting as a point guard somewhere. And now the Knicks are going to have to decide what to do. Maybe they sign and trade him. Maybe they just sign him and he stays the 6th man. And he's the best 6th man in the NBA for the foreseeable future. Or maybe he just walks. And that would be the worst case scenario. And I've said this before on this channel. If Immanuel Quickley ends up walking and Leon and co do nothing about it, that is absolutely malpractice by them and a fireable offense. I'm not saying if they do that, they absolutely should get fired. But that is something that you fire someone over because of how great Immanuel Quickley is. And if you let him walk, that will be a nightmare scenario for the Knicks. But really, Quickley looks like he's going to be the sixth man of the year, either him or Tim Hardaway Jr. as of right now. And if you look at what Wes Unseld Jr. had to say, also talking about Jalen Brunson here, but we all know Jalen Brunson is an absolute stud. He said that they're both really good offensive players, capable of scoring on all three levels, off the bounce, to the rim, very shifty. They put a lot of pressure on you from top to bottom. That is Wes Unseld Jr. saying that. Obviously, he played against both of them last night, or coached against both of them last night. Wes Unseld Jr. is not playing basketball. He's a little old for that. But really, what we are looking at is Quickley getting the respect that he deserves. And the fact that he is on the bench is very specific to him playing behind Jalen Brunson. An all-star talent. I know he's never made an all-star game. I'd be shocked if he didn't this season. So we kind of just can classify him in that tier already, I would say. And I'm really curious what would happen if Immanuel Quickley were the Knicks starting point guard. Like, let's just say Jalen Brunson didn't exist, or stayed with Dallas, or whatever, and Quickley was the Knicks starting point guard. What numbers would he be putting up leading this New York Knicks offense? I think they would be fairly similar to Jalen Brunson. I do think Brunson's a better player. I think he's more versatile. He's obviously more consistent. But Immanuel Quickley is really, really good. He's way too good to be off the bench, and I think this is the final season the Knicks are really going to be able to get away with keeping him on the bench, because it feels like the second he gets a starting job, he is going to absolutely erupt. The same way that his buddy from college, who he played with, Tyrese Maxey, has completely erupted since the departure of James Harden in that Clippers trade. Now, shout out to Sixers Digest and Casey, because she told me this was going to happen, and I said that it was not in the way that she explained it to me. And it absolutely did happen. So, shouts to them, and shouts to Tyrese Maxey for balling out. And I think that Immanuel Quickley is going to be in the same boat. And Quickley does not just do it offensively, he does it defensively. However, not everyone thinks so. Trae Young knows Immanuel Quickley cannot guard him. That is a quote from Dominique Wilkins, who is the analyst on the broadcasts for the Atlanta Hawks. Now, what the Strickland reminded us of is that Trae Young is 10 for 33 in his life when being defended by Immanuel Quickley. He was 4 for 12 last time that they played, and then also missed the game-tying free throw, and the Hawks are 0-2 this season versus the Knicks. Both of those Hawks games were at home. They're done playing home games against the Knicks, unless they see each other in the playoffs. And I'll be honest, I want the New York Knicks to see the Atlanta Hawks in the playoffs so the Knicks can beat the brakes off them. Get some revenge. Really, I don't know how Dominique Wilkins, a man who is an all-time great, cannot tell that Immanuel Quickley absolutely can guard Trae Young, or any guard in this league, but apparently he doesn't. And I actually just saw an NBA University tweet literally like 30 minutes ago saying that if you don't think Immanuel Quickley is a good defender, that is an absolute statement that you are saying that you are a casual fan. I, of course, agree. Obviously, I'm also friends with IQ a little bit off screen, so obviously I'm going to hype IQ up, man. But yeah, what we're looking at is a guy completely breaking out, completely showing that he can almost certainly be a starting point guard on an NBA team while he's still being a backup. And very quickly, to close this out, we are going to talk about that. And let's look at the Knicks' money real quick. Next season, the Knicks will be paying out $150,000, exactly like around that, or $150 million. Excuse me. The salary cap is $136 million. The Knicks are already over the salary cap for next season. Between the $30 million that they're owed Randall, Jalen Brunson's $24 million, RJ's $25, then the 14 from Robinson, the 18 from Josh Hart, and the 11 that they're owed to DiVincenzo, not to mention Quentin Grimes and Jericho Sims. Grimes obviously will be here next season, and Jericho Sims, it would be shocking to see him not on the New York Knicks next year. The Knicks are already over the salary cap. They're going to get very close to that second apron re-signing Immanuel Quickley, and they're also going to be doing it by putting him on the bench once again. And I don't think Immanuel Quickley is going to want to play on the bench much longer, because when he gets his moments, he absolutely takes advantage of them. I have a really, really strong feeling the Knicks are going to end up doing a sign and trade with Quickley soon when they want to move for a star, which I think is going to happen. And the reason I think that is going to happen is because the Knicks' assets, they're growing up a little bit, and Quickley really leading that group of, okay, well, he's a trade asset now because we have Jalen Brunson. We can't keep this guy on the bench forever, and essentially something is going to happen. Let's cash all of this in. Let's use these draft picks we've stocked up, and let's make a move for someone, somewhere, sometime soon. And that kind of sucks because I really want to see Immanuel Quickley stick around on the New York Knicks. However, that is unfortunately not the most likely scenario, I would say, though it is pretty likely. I could still easily see him in a Knicks jersey next season as the sixth man once again. Here's Quickley's stats, because I just have not shown them to you guys yet this video. Just to close it out, he's averaging 16 points per game this season. He's shooting 40% from 3, 47% from the field, getting 4 assists and 3.5 rebounds per game. Immanuel Quickley is balling out, and also he is second on the DraftKings odds for sixth man of the year. Tim Hardaway Jr., former Knick, once a Knick, always a Knick. Shout out Timmy. Twice, actually. Two-time Knick. They drafted him, then later signed him as a restricted free agent away from the Hawks. Tim Hardaway is absolutely shooting the lights out this season, and that's why he is in front of Quickley right now. The way that Hardaway is shooting, it's hard to imagine he keeps it up all season like this. And I do think Quickley will jump over him and end up being the New York Knicks sixth man of the year. So I'm not telling you what to bet on, but what I am saying is if you're going to make a bet on sixth man of the year, or if I were to make a bet on that, I would probably bet on Immanuel Quickley. He's only getting better. And the Knicks are going to have to do something about it, whether it's trade him or pay him or something. And things are really weird because they have Jalen Brunson and Quentin Grimes, who are definitely the guys who the Knicks are looking at as their starting guards for the foreseeable future. So this situation is not over. It's just beginning, especially if Quickley's play continues to improve. And we will continue to talk about this situation. So thank you so much for watching. We will catch you next time on Knicks Digest. Have a great day. And remember, go Knicks.